Come on, Lululemon, say it ain't so. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Lululemon allegedly firing 2 Atlanta area employees for calling the police on shoplifters. Now, before I even get into it, I just want to say I like Lululemon's clothing, specifically their pants. I do have quite a few of their pants, and no, I'm not wearing yoga pants. I'm not wearing ballerina pants. They do have clothing that's for men that looks like a man should wear it. And none of this androgynous LGBTQ, Dylan Mulvaney type stuff going on over these parts, but that's a different story, and I digress. And of course, the pants are expensive, $128 per pair, but maybe that price is only for those who are dumb enough to actually buy it rather than going to a store and stealing it. And before I go any further, let's roll the clip. If you want to see the clip in full without my commentary, link as always will be in the description box. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
No. Seriously. Get out.
2 Georgia women say they were fired from their jobs at Lululemon after calling police to report this robbery, which one of them caught on camera.
No, you can.
Now let's pause right here. This case I remember very well. The police did catch these guys as a result of what the employees did. The employees chased these guys out of the store while recording on their cell phone. I think they were able to get their vehicle. They were able to get pretty good shots of these guys with their cell phones. Now, this could be part of the reason why they got fired, as well as calling the police, okay? If this is part of it, that adds a different wrinkle that has not been discussed a lot in the mainstream media or on some channels, but let's keep on going.
Jennifer Ferguson and Rachel Rogers describing to NBC affiliate 11 Alive Atlanta the horrifying moments the merchandise at the Peachtree Corner store was stolen.
They swiped until they couldn't hold any more product and ran out the door.
We didn't really feel very protected or know what else to do.
The women say they were fired from their jobs after they decided to call the police about the shoplifting, something they say they were told is against company policy. So what are they supposed to do instead?
You kind of clear a path for whatever they're going to do, and then after it's over, you scan a QR code.
Rogers, who says she's worked at the company for 5 years, claims that the store has been dealing with thefts for months, recalling another incident.
Someone sent me a picture of the front entrance table, and I was like, oh my gosh, we just sold all the product, good job. And they were like, no, someone just came in and stole everything.
But this was the first time she knows of someone at the store calling police, which local authorities confirm. The Fayette County Sheriff's Office says 3 men have been charged with theft by shoplifting and theft by receiving stolen property from that incident. And they're currently in the Fayette County Jail. Videos of brazen shoplifting have gone viral from stores across the country.
Let's pause right here for a second. Now, I've read about this case before I did the video. And there were 2 different things that could have been the reason why these women got fired. Like I said, the first thing was about calling the police, which should not be the reason why you get fired. I'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. But the second thing was chasing them and recording them on their cell phones. Now, that might violate company policy, but I don't think either thing should get you fired from Lululemon. Not at all.
And it's common practice for retailers to tell their employees not to intervene.
80% of retailers are experiencing violent incidents.
Now, I would say that it makes sense to say don't intervene. As far as physically trying to get in the way, don't intervene unless you're a security guard or something like that. Because check it out. You got these criminals coming in there. You don't know if they got guns, any kind of weapons they have, if they are skilled at fighting. You got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys doing a smash and grab. And you got some 16-year-old high school student behind the counter. What is she going to do besides get beat up in the process of trying to stop them? What you should do is call the police, which they may have been fired for doing, which is really just crazy.
One is to tell folks you should not be interfering or apprehending folks if you do not have the training.
And while a punishment after calling the police for shoplifting might be head-scratching to some, retail trade organizations say it might be more common than you think because some stores have relationships with law enforcement and don't want to waste resources on petty crime.
They don't want to, waste their time on what may be an entry-level shoplifting issue when they could be doing something else, because then they're not necessarily going to be as quick to respond.
I mean, okay, see, I see that point of view. I see that point of view about, well, we got real crime going on, all this, that, and the third, but maybe that's part of the whole defund the police movement. Okay, if your police are defunded and you don't have enough resources to be able to cover things like shoplifting, which is important to businesses, you're going to be like, yeah, don't call us because we don't have the manpower. We're not going to even come to you. Matter of fact, if you get your car broken into and they steal whatever you got in there, oh well. If they steal your car, oh well. Why? Because we don't have enough resources to deal with it. Thank the whole defund the police movement. Thank the whole Black Lives Matter movement. Okay, you want to be hostile and all this and that toward the police? Well, this is what you have. A state that has become kind of lawless, depending upon where you are in the country, due to there not being any kind of law enforcement presence in places where it should be.
The next time when they do need someone there.
Ferguson and Rogers say their actions led to their termination for vague reasoning.
They have a no tolerance policy.
They said because they have a zero tolerance policy.
We tried calling the store and reaching out to Lululemon's corporate offices and did not hear back. Both women now adjusting to their new lives after the April incident.
That was my sole income, so I did have to file for unemployment and use all of my savings to pay for my car payment.
It put us in a bit of a bind. My husband is self-employed, so we're trying to figure out insurance.
All right, Stephen Romo joins us now in studio. Stephen, a lot of people are going to be confused by this, right? And again, I want to make it very clear. We reached out to Lululemon several times. Yep. But, I mean, it's not just petty theft, right? Because if it was one shirt, one pair of shorts, even though it's Lululemon, we're talking about armfuls of shirts. And those shirts are probably $100, $80 each, along with the pants that are $100 more. So we're talking about thousands of dollars worth of merchandise. And they're just supposed to just let it happen?
Yeah, Lululemon, those clothes are not cheap. These employees say that they were let go because they violated a company policy. And the company, they actually sent us a letter. Rachel Rogers, one of the women in the story, sent us a letter saying they violated policy, but not specifying which policy they actually violated. It is a lot confusing to a lot of people. That attorney we spoke to for the retail trade organization says that some companies do have this policy to not even call the police, to just be completely passive for employees' own safety when it comes to shoplifting. Of course, not all companies agree with that. Some of them do want the police called. In each situation, it leaves a lot of gray area, a lot of confusion.
And why would the crooks stop stealing if they know that nothing's going to happen?
Good question.
Anyways.
Basic, simple stuff right there. Shout out to my man for asking that question at the very end on NBC, which, you really don't get too often. They say defund the police, and they like the policy out there in California about anything below $1,000 we're not going to prosecute. So shout out to him for saying that on NBC, live on there. That's very interesting. But yeah, Lululemon, I'm trying to empathize a little bit, but I can't. You can't say that it's wrong to call the police. I mean, what did we do? Look, if there's no penalty for shoplifting, then what's the point even having the store? You could pretty much just say, okay, look, you could pay whatever you want to pay. Come into the store, take whatever you want. If you want to leave with it, cool. If you don't, then here's the price. You could do it that way. If you're not going to call the police, if you can't intervene, then what is the barrier between the person who wants to steal or just feels like it costs too much? What's the barrier from them to just do whatever they want and not doing whatever they want? It's got to be some kind of law enforcement right there. Maybe the police are stretched too thin, and these companies know it, and they don't want to burden the police. I mean, nah, I don't really buy that one. And then also about the non-intervention, I understand that being the policy. You shouldn't intervene if you're not a security guard or some kind of trained person that can deal with these people because you're trying to die or get beat up behind a pair of Lululemon pants. I think not. You should let law enforcement do their job and take care of those who are the shop, which is exactly what happened. Law enforcement caught these guys afterward. Okay, they had their guns on these guys, got them into jail. That's the way it's supposed to happen. I mean, throughout my entire life, I thought that if you stole from the store, if you were a shoplifter, you would get arrested and get sent to jail. Now, it might not be a very long sentence, but it's got to be a penalty against going into a place and just taking whatever you want. Okay. And even if they got fired for chasing these guys and filming them on their phones, possibly putting themselves in danger, even if that was the company policy that was violated, they still shouldn't have been fired. All right. It should have been kind of a warning like, hey, you might not want to do that because you could easily get stomped out or die behind that. But since you were so brave, let's give you some kind of award. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I think if I was Lululemon's owners or whatever, that's what I would do. And speaking about the owners, that is who is responsible for these policies ultimately, whoever is in control of Lululemon. Okay. It's not about it's not about anything else other than these people that run it. So anyone try to blame anybody else, look straight at the company that's doing it. And I don't think these guys are the only ones that have this kind of policy. I think if we get honest answers from these companies about what's really happening, then we'll really figure out what's going on. We'll start to get into the nitty gritty of the details about the police not having enough people to go to all these places and the companies not really caring about it. They say, look, we got insurance for it. It doesn't really matter. It's overpriced anyway. The shrinkage is baked into the very high price for a pair of pants, $128. That could be all part of it. So they don't even really care. It's like, look, they still, oh, well, we already account for that, so don't even do nothing about it. That could be what's going on, but I prefer honesty rather than just silence about the whole situation because that'll give us all clarity. Without the honesty or transparency, there could be a boycott over these guys for refusing to let law enforcement do their job. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about Lululemon refusing to, not refusing to, for having the policy that says don't call the police? Whatever your thoughts on this are, let me know in the comments below. How you feel about young women that got fired? Should they have been fired? Should they not have been fired? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. The young women shouldn't have been fired based upon what information I have in front of me. All that I know is that they called the police and then they ran after them with their phones and filmed them. Them doing that with their phones and calling the police is what led to these guys' arrests. They did a good thing. Bravo, hats off. That shouldn't necessarily be a fireable offense. Even if it does potentially violate company policy, sometimes you got to say, you know what, this case here should not be when we try to enforce company policy. That's just my humble opinion, but whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.